Right, and welcome to the Sole Trader Interviews. I'm delighted to be here with my very good friend and sometimes co-host. We should be co-hosting some glamorous event, right?
Absolutely.
Jessica Huie, MBE. You've just been running your PR workshop here, and it's quite interesting because you've had an extraordinary journey. PR has been pretty much most of your adult life, right?
Yes.
If you think about it, isn't it? So from teenage, single mum through to PR sensation, you run a workshop here helping people to small business owners, particularly with their PR, public relations, and even that word creates all sorts of different things. Some people think it's great. Some people think, well, what is it? Some people don't understand it. What drew you first to PR, and what is PR to you, bearing in mind you're doing this all day, every day?
I think initially, my degree was journalism, so just from a sort of sensible career planning perspective, I thought, right, I need to get some PR work experience. And then I had a lucky break where I was working in a hairdresser's, and the lady on a Saturday, the lady whose hair I was washing turned out to be an incredible publicist to George Michael and Mariah Carey.
As you do. I mean, that is a lucky break.
It really is a lucky break.
Wow.
And she invited me in for an interview just through chatting, just through talking, and that really was my break because I got to experience, the world of, sort of high-level publicity.
And did it really sit with you from very early on when you found yourself in that environment? Did it really resonate with you? Did you think, yeah?
I think for most, 18-year-olds, so the world of celebrity has an appeal and an allure. And for me, I was lucky enough to travel. So, it's incredibly eye-opening, particularly, and it was a world apart from my own sort of background, and that was exciting.
And then, but it's one thing to, I guess, have that opportunity, it's another thing to make a career in it. And I'd imagine it's, funny enough, PR is not the easiest, actually, field to make a career in. Obviously, you then set up your own PR agency and colourblind cards. So what personally, and I can't help but ask this before we talk more about PR, but what then made you decide to go on the entrepreneurial route, that you wanted to do your own thing? Because lots of people might think, okay, I want to progress in PR, but it's another thing to decide, actually, you know what, I want to go out on my own and be an entrepreneur.
I think for me, as I got older, I became more confident in my own value systems and what resonated truly with me. And so I decided I wanted to be in control of who I represented, because PR is wonderful, it creates visibility, ultimately, that's what it's all about. And there's so many people that deserve to be visible. And I wanted to sort of draw some of those, and people that inspire. There's clients, I'm really lucky in that I've had clients who've really inspired me. And PR is a tool for achieving that.
That's powerful, actually, saying that, because actually, there's so many people in PR and media, you present what's in front of you, but you just made a conscious decision. There are some people I'm meeting and some things that they do that I'm really passionate about, or some things that causes that really deserve that. And I guess that must be, there's clearly a link there between that and colourblind cards, because tell us, for people who don't know about colourblind, what's colourblind about, and where did that emerge from? Not concerned with one business.
No, Colourblind Cards is a multiracial greeting card and gift company. And that started because I was looking for a card for my daughter and realised there was nothing in the high street which was representative, and so decided to create it.
As you do.
Just impulsive and...
You decided then and there, right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I did. Right. But there's pros and cons to that, there really are, and as I've got older, I've made lots of mistakes, but they've been learning experiences. And
well, that I can't help but then pick you up on that bit there, because I think that's one of the things that comes across about you. I think that you're not afraid to put yourself out there and to go for something that you believe in. I think that's an important entrepreneurial quality. I think that so many people are kind of very reserved and very considered, and sometimes that's really important. But sometimes if you're not bold enough to go for it, and sometimes just somehow make it happen, then it can't work, right? I just want to flag that up at that point, because I'd imagine you meet lots of entrepreneurs, and that is an important quality, actually. Do you have the courage just to go for it? Does that come up a lot when you're working with people?
But for me too. There's so much talk at the moment around confidence and how essential it is to everything that we do, and but it's a decision. It's a decision to stretch myself and kind of find comfortability in the discomfort, of stepping outside of my comfort zone, because Otherwise, you don't grow, and it sounds like a cliche, but life gets dull, and I never want it to be dull.
So is that part of your personality? Because it's funny, I know it's your birthday quite recently, and I was trying to work out, because I'm slowly getting to the start, are you on the cusp between two star signs, right? There's Aries, and do you know the week that you're booked, this week, is a week where so many, like, real fire in the entertainment industry, there's so many, it's interesting. There's a week, this particular week, there's so many stars born in the same week. Today's Diana Ross's birthday, Elton John's birthday this week, Chaka Khan, so many great fiery, you know, artists, and then I don't know what the cusp before Pisces. So that's interesting, isn't it? So these are really strong star signs. I don't know where that came from, but it's interesting. There's something. Do you find that there's something in your makeup? Yeah, that was the question. In terms of where you've always been wanting to do new.
Definitely.
Do you get bored by things?
No, I like to lead.
Right.
I've been a leader since I was a kid. You know, at school I was sort of organising kids and lobbying our headmaster in primary school at like 9 to do sort of special sales and things, and getting him to agree and give us classroom space at lunchtime. But then I think the Pisces is the dreamer and the emotional. So there is definitely a real mix.
The mix of those things. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? And when you were talking about that, to be able to persuade people, that's a lot of what PR is about, right? You've got to be persuasive personally and your product, and it's both, isn't it? That's key. I mean, it might be good just to, before we close, and I'm sure we'll do a longer interview at some point. Let's talk a little bit about PR and your tips for PR, because you're running a workshop here for lots of people who are individuals or very small business owners or micro business owners, in terms of helping them do their own PR. In a way, it's quite a daunting task to be able to do your PR. What's really the essence of what you're wanting to get across to them, people who are coming through this door? Some may know a bit about PR, but some of them, they're completely fresh to it. All they know is that they've got a product or a service that they're wanting to sell. So what's the essence of what you're keen to share with them here?
I guess it's just removing any preconceptions they have about what they are supposed to be and what they are supposed to say, because it is genuinely about. My approach is, you know, authentic PR, which I know is going to resonate with you, Rash.
So much.
You know, it's about visibility. PR creates visibility, and you can have the most amazing service or product, but if no one knows about it, what's the point? So it's about how you communicate effectively what is true to you. That's it in a nutshell.
And what kind of journey do you see? I mean, I know that you do the course here. I know that your company, JHPR, has PR packages to help those people, and sometimes obviously you promote some people. What's the journey that they go on? Because I guess there's two journeys. There's them for an entrepreneur, right? Because they've got to be PRable, and then there's their product. I mean, what's the journey that they typically go on, that you?
So I guess it's about them understanding what their human interest story is. What's the story behind their business? Right. Because now more than ever is the time that the media is open to those stories. You know, you can't hide behind your business or a glossy website. Like, why are you doing what you're doing, and what are your values? Because particularly with I think this research released recently, which shows that the millennial audience particularly care about, you know, which causes are businesses, big businesses also supporting before they'll spend their money.
Me too. One of the first things I do, I mean, probably because my background is in media PR, the first thing I do with anybody, I'll well-known search engine them, try and find them, and I go straight away to the About Me page. I want to know about you. Who are you? Why are you doing what you're doing? It's not just enough that you're doing a product. Who are you? Why should I pick you? Why should I buy your particular service, and so on? And then if I resonate with you, and that's why I guess today's generation of lots of successful entrepreneurs get that, because they understand that people are as interested in them. And I guess that brings with it some, I mean, it just even in a week like the week that we've had when we record this, isn't it? That some people can cope with that kind of pressure and so on. So it must be quite extraordinary, your job, actually, when you're PRing people, because you must see quite a lot of their highs and their lows, and you must become a confidant, almost everything. Do you want to say a little bit about that? Because it must be quite a... I was born and bred around it, so I love it and I'm used to it, and I learn very quickly. But my goodness, it must be so challenging for somebody who's got a different personality type. So tell me a little bit about what your
I think
thoughts
PR
are.
Is up there amongst the most stressful career choices, according to stats. But it's demanding, so you have to love it. You have to feel high when you get that result for that client that is going to be really influential for their career or their book or whatever it might be, or for that startup even more so, you know. But yes, I think people's motivation is always key, and I think if you go into it with the right desire, that's going to help you a lot.
Right. So for somebody who's watching this just before we close, and they're starting out and they want to begin to promote their business, what are some of the basics that they should be doing? I heard some wonderful bits of advice when I only caught the tail end of the workshop. But you know, before you go out there, make sure that some of the basics are in place. The website, you've got that profile, everything, and the product is there and it's good and it's sound. Because otherwise, you're going to find out you're going to be found out. But any other just general tips for somebody who's watching this and they're wanting to get going with their PR? Yeah,
I think, you know, just to reiterate, make sure that when a journalist clicks through to your website, you're happy with what they're about to see. Right. The same applies to a customer, and until you're in that position, don't start thinking about PR. And then when you do, disregard your ideas about how you should pitch and sales pitches and la-da-da. It's about the story. Can you imagine reading this story in the publication you're about to pitch to? Because if you can't, don't do it. Don't do it.
And we've got to remember that it's actually from you wanting to sell your product, but actually journalists are about providing news and good human interest. That's what it is. And if you've got something along that, great. If not, then it's not about that. It's not selling. It's not about selling. No. What you do, but the positioning is useful for. So then, any other thoughts or tips? And once they've got
targeted, you know, be targeted. Do your research. So buy the publications or listen to the radio station, watch the channel, and really get a feel for what are the values and topics which are current for that particular media platform,
and the gaps that
absolutely. Yeah. But you'll get a feel for the tone. Yeah. Don't pitch a story about be aware of the politics around certain newspapers, and which are the ones that are left field, which are right, because that will help you to determine where you fit, and understand your customer. It's logical stuff, but once you really understand your customer, you'll know the media they consume, and you'll be able to speak to them in the right language.
And I'd also say, isn't it, it's great that sometimes we think, especially in today's world, we think of the glossy, the top, the top names. I want to be the Times, the Guardian, ITN, this, that, and that. But don't underplay starting off local. Start off with a technical press related to what you do, because they're looking for stories, and you're more likely to get in, or a website or whatever, and then you've started this.
And often they'll be picked up anyway if you start there.
Right.
They're gentler journalists anyway.
Right. Absolutely. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking to you. But I just want to ask, just before we close, so for you, in terms of your PR world, so there's JHPR, and there's colourblind cards. What are your own aspirations left? I'm sure that there are so many. Because what are the things that you're still wanting to do, or causes that you think, I'd love to promote that. Anything that you want to share, anything without having to kill me because it's a trade secret.
No, I guess it's just continued growth.
Right.
It's continued growth in many ways. My businesses, they're still young.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and just continuing to grow and progress every year on every level. That's my immediate
I really
aspiration.
like that, and it made me really think of something you said wonderfully here to people. I love that, because I think even a business that's 10 years old, for me, I think is a young business. And I like the fact you were saying to people, who could you be partner up and so on. I think that really take your time as a small business, isn't it? Find out who you are, find out, this is me, obviously the coach speaking, but the DNA of your business, because then it's going to become far easier for you to also promote it and to find the people you want to partner with, to build those relationships. Yes. Don't be too quick. You've got time, and stay the course. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking to you, and I'm so glad, because I know that let me ask one last question. What are people in PR like? Are people in PR themselves, they like to just promote the stories, or are they happy being in front of the camera as well as... I'm just curious about that.
I guess it depends from case to case, but you've got to be comfortable communicating ultimately to be in the game. Right. So it's a nice change. Yeah. It's a refreshing change.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. Jessica, Huie, I'm going to leave you to actually quickly grab a bite of lunch. Great to see you here.
Good.
Or for people trying to find you, can you give us the 2 web addresses?
Our websites are www.jhpr.co.uk and colourblindcards.com. Know you in colour.
Okay, fantastic. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. I can leave you to smile at the camera as I turn off the camera. These have been the Sole Trader interviews. Thank you.